Why, hello and welcome everybody. It is Pohx again. So today we're going to go ahead and cover episode 2 of the beginner guide series. Now, I guess you could say not really beginner guide, but playthrough series. I want to continue where we left off yesterday, so to kind of give you guys a little bit of an understanding, or just to remember, we killed we killed Mervale. We crafted a really good weapon, and we just started Act 2 and didn't really do anything in terms of Act 2 progression. But before I start Act 2 progression, I want to address some of the comments that were in the videos, or in the previous video. I'm going to disable my overlay just to make it, I guess, easier for people to understand. And for people wondering the loot filter that I'm using, there was a bit of conversation going on in the comments about loot filters and whatnot, and I'm just going to explain to you guys very simply how loot filters work. All loot filters do is you can create your own, you can install one from someone else, you can install just a generic loot filter and customize it yourself. The only thing it does is it displays what drops along with the noise alongside with it. So it just makes it easier for you. As you get into like higher end content and whatnot, it's best to kind of make better items more, I guess you could say, like more visual, so you could see them easier, but it doesn't actually affect your gameplay at all. So don't think like the game is going to be completely different if you don't use the right loot filter. But I'm using just never sinks regular loot filter. That's all. Nothing too crazy. I promise you, you could literally not use a loot filter and it wouldn't matter at all how you play through the game. Anyway, let's continue on where we left off. I'm just going to go ahead and ID and sell some of the loot that we got from yesterday. Okay. So what did we find here? Bad, poo-poo. Ooh, 27 life and cold resist. This is actually a lot better than what I'm using. Okay, I don't need these rings. I can drop the coral. Actually, I should keep the coral. Let's swap this one for this. Nice. I don't need this mana flask. And I should ID this ring. We got 4 life. I'll give it an augment, because that life is a prefix, so we can get a suffix. Suffix could include like attack speed or any type of resistance. And we actually just rolled a resistance, which is really nice. So I'm just going to replace this guy right here with that. I don't need this guy. And as for our tree, we are going to be working up... I don't really know. It really depends on the build I want to play. I guess for now I'm gonna work into getting this amplify here for AoE, and then maybe I'll go like ground slam or something, or not ground slam, earthquake. Never played earthquake before. All right, there we go. So we are now on the way to Act 2, and inside Act 2, we've got quite a few quests to do. We've got to decide. Well, first off, we have 3 bandits. We have to decide which one we're helping, or if we're killing all of them, and I'll explain that as we continue on. Some other bosses are going to be like Weaver. Weaver is a boss. We have Fidelitis, which is a boss, and then we're going to have Vol, which is going to be the final boss of Act 2. This skill is nice, it feels like it hits such a small area. Oh, another thing I'd recommend, I'm sorry I didn't address this in the first video. If you notice where I have my move only here, move only essentially means that the only thing that keybind can be used for is moving. And I would highly recommend utilizing move only on your left click, or not even left click, just whatever. Just put it on a keybind that you like moving with. And the purpose of that is so that you don't actually get blocked when you're trying to move. Because if you get blocked, you could die pretty easily by just accidentally auto-attacking a boss 3 times before you decide to move through it. And I think that's kind of important. So definitely decide and see if you feel it's necessary for you. Man, we are super slow, but our guy does some damage. Alright. So we did just pick up a blacksmith whetstone. These are very important for playing like physical type builds. Being as this character is a physical type build, we're going to try to save as many of them as we can, because they will enhance the quality of the weapon, which overall increases its damage per second, which you can see this one is a 14% quality, and you can go up to 20% quality on anything. Now, the way quality works is if you have a white piece of gear, meaning, for example, well, I don't have anything white actually, but just anything you would find on the floor that's just lying around. If you quality it, it's only going to take you 4 scraps, or four armor scraps, or 4 whetstones to hit 20%. If it's magic, it's going to take 10, and if it's rare, it's going to take 20. So we're going to go ahead, and I prefer to run Act 2 this way. There's many different ways to run it, but we're going to go to Old Fields, which is directly to the right of it. Look, a chromatic orb. And that would be one example of Never Sinks Loot Filter. Never Sinks Loot Filter will, just like a bunch of other ones, will highlight items that are kind of important to you. So this is our first Vol side area. You don't have to do these if you're, I mean, you don't really have to do them ever. But what the purpose of a Vol side area is you can kind of get, like, unique skills out of them, I'll say. They're called Vol skills, and they're not like your typical skills. They're kind of like cooldowns, where you have to kill a bunch of monsters, and then you get enough souls to be able to utilize the skill. Now, obviously, if you're playing, like, a melee character, and you get, like, a Vol skill that's a spell, it's not going to be very good for you. But there's always so many different things you can get, and sometimes you can even make, like, decent money out of them. There's always going to be a boss at the end, so you'll see our bosses right here. And this boss has proximity shield, bleeds you every hit, and will run away. So that's kind of awkward, considering that we have to be inside the proximity shield to hit him. This is definitely one of the more annoying ones. Now we got him right here. Oh no. Totem. Totem, get him. Totem, get him. He's trolling my totem, man. There we go. And then once you kill the boss, you can go ahead and pop up the Vol Vessel. And we got a Vol Power Siphon, which unfortunately does not do anything for us. That's for a kind of like a physical and or elemental wander build. Okay, so also when you're in Old Fields, there is a side area you can do, which is called the Den, which you'll see open up once I go inside it. And you can see this opens it up here. The Den used to be done all the time, and the last time, I can't remember doing the Den anymore because you can level up really easily, but if you're still new to the game, I'd recommend doing it. It's cool because it guarantees you a rare belt, and we do not even have a rare belt, we have a rustic sash, so that'll be a nice, hopefully a nice upgrade. Alright, bears, come here. We got a rare strongbox. What could it have inside it? A rogue exile. Alright, rogue exiles are kind of like, I don't even want to call them mini bosses, but they're unique named mobs, meaning they do have, they are like brownish texted, like a boss. And rogue exiles always drop one of every piece of gear, plus whatever else they decide to roll on their drop table. And they're pretty cool. And you can see here's a rogue exile right here. It's like a ranger type of rogue exile. And she dropped, you can see here all the loot that she dropped. So we're going to pick up the, let's see, we'll pick up the Amber Amulet, because we don't have a good amulet. And hopefully we can get life or something. Oh, that doesn't really help us at all. There's a leather belt, so we can take it and hope for a life or resistance roll. 16 lightning res, that's okay. And there's an iron ring, which we were using before. That's poop. So nothing really too important for me off her. So we're just gonna, oh, actually there's another, here we go. Let's get this ruby ring. This ruby ring has 45% fire resistance on it. That is very good. We're gonna go ahead and augment and hope for a life roll. We didn't, we got evasion. That's still pretty good though. Our cold resist is pretty high, so let's just trade it out like that and make them more even. Now, what I just killed was a monster called a volatile mob. Volatiles are things that were released back in Nemesis League, which was, I don't know, almost like 2 years ago, maybe more than 2 years ago. And monsters can have a prefix on them, and it'll be in orange text, so you can read it very easily. And volatile is a very dangerous one, because a volatile monster essentially explodes on death, dealing a percentage of its, I believe, maximum life and weapon damage So you need to be very careful if you're fighting like bears or golems or the really big hard-hitting tanky mobs. This is a great layout for me right here. All we gotta do is kill one way. Oh. Oh. Come on, mobs. Okay. We actually have 2 skill points. I did not even notice. Let's go ahead and go directly north, like I was saying here, to grab the AoE and Templar. And here is the boss, the Great White Beast. Well, the Great White get wrecked. Oh, we got a rare helmet. Alright, what do we have on your helmet? 9 life, 13 strength? I don't know. The unique helmet I have right now isn't isn't really anything special, but we'll see. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to continue, I guess, east, I think is the direction we want to go. I would also highly recommend you guys to follow the road. I'm really bad at following like directions in general, so I kind of always do things my own way. And we got another rogue exile, very nice. And there is a chess piece there, actually. But before we pick up this chess piece here, let's go ahead and sell since we are full.
What troubles you bring now?
Alright. Chromatic, chromatic, chromatic. I don't need this guy. Are these better than mine? These are cold and lightning res, but they don't have any life. They are actually better than my boots though, because of the lightning resistance roll. Well, lightning resist versus life, I mean, they're kind of the same. It's not too much of a difference. Okay, we don't need this guy either. Can pretty much get rid of all of these little scrap things, but I'm just going to hold them for now. Okay, what do we have for this chess piece? 27 life and 2 resistances. Alright, that's really good. But we do not have the ability to use it because we don't... Well, I mean, I don't want to lose my links right now because I'm using added fire with my Sunder and my Ancestral Totem. I could, however, buy another added fire and I could make it work. Okay, this should be the next area, but we'll leave it alone. I like the deeps too much. Although I don't even use my Ancestral Warchief Totem that much, so I don't think it would make that much of a difference if I were to remove it. Actually, it really wouldn't. Let's just do that. I don't need Heavy Strike anymore. So we'll go Added Fire with Sunder, and then I'll put Ancestral Protector right here, and we'll swap. Man, it's winter, and it's been raining, like, all day. And I've had my window open because I like it cold outside, and, like, all the little gnats and bugs came in. Now I'm super upset. Alright, so Torah mission. Torah, I know I said I wasn't going to talk much about masters because I want to make a video specifically for them. But simply put, Torah will assign you monsters to kill, and she'll give you a little kind of radar as to where you can go find them. Sometimes, instead of giving you just monsters to kill, she'll tell you to go find, like, you know, like the Dank Den, for example. You got to go find the Dank Den, and inside the Dank Den you'll find, you know, 50, 60 monsters to kill. So Torah is usually worth doing because it's a nice pack of blue monsters. Alright, so here we've got one unique, actually we have 2 unique mobs. The first one being Caliph Headstaver, Starver. Oh, he's dead. He doesn't really do anything, he's kind of a wuss. But he always guards right here specifically. Back in the day, actually, one of my friends used to Magic Find run him. You know, he'd get like a bunch of Magic Find gear, and farm him, and it was pretty funny that it actually worked. And actually, this is Tora's mission right down here, so let me go show you guys this. And we have a shrine here, too. Cool. Acceleration shrine. Oh, I'm going to have to save this for when I come out. Note that buffs do not persist when zoning in through certain areas. So I'm going to show you an example. If I hit a movement speed flask and go inside here, it's going to be off by the time I get in. Got some edgy music here, too. Alright, and we have some gloves. What can we get on these gloves? 24 life and 2 resists. Oh my goodness, that's super good. So we are actually capped on fire resistance for all of normal difficulty, so we don't ever have to pick up fire resistance ever again. Alright, so the acceleration shrine allows us to go zoom zoom. Gives you a crazy attack speed bonus, movement speed bonus, and pretty much everything else. Projectile speed, anything you could imagine that would make your character go zoom zoom fast, it gives you. So we're in Chamber of Sins right now, which Chamber of Sins actually used to be the best place to level, pre-mapping, which was pretty cool, before Dried Lake and Act 4 was out. And the reason why is Chamber of Sins has 3 exits. There's the bottom left-hand corner, the middle bottom, and like kind of the right top corner. Now this pack right here, where I'm showing you, I guarantee will be a blue pack. And you can see it's a blue pack right here with a white pack combined. And the reason why is, this has the potential of being an exit, and because it has the potential of being an exit, if it is not an exit, a blue pack spawns instead. I don't know exactly why that's the case, but it's really good for XP, and it's really safe too. That's where I used to level my characters in like kind of like the mid-50s. The mid-50s before. So there's not going to be a blue pack here because this is the end. But I just want to show you guys to confirm. There's actually a ghost here. Ghosts are cool because they go into monsters and they give them a buff, which you can see they have the Mutilator's buff on them. But when they have the buff on them, they have greatly increased drop rates as well. As you can see, kind of loot is popping up. And if the ghost runs into a rare monster like a yellow or a unique monster, it'll actually possess it, and it'll grant it permanently the buff until it's slain, and it will grant much more loot. Now that shrine we picked up is a diamond shrine, which gives us 100% guaranteed crit chance, which is pretty cool. On this box, we have a detonate dead box. You have to be a little careful of this mod on boxes because since it does spawn such a huge amount of mobs, it can be very deadly to just stand still. Here's actually an added fire that I needed. It can be very deadly to stand still and kind of just have the stacking explosions just all hit you at once. So in this corner room here, we're going to see a blue pack because there's not going to be an exit, and here would be our blue pack because the exit could have been right here, for example. Alright, so let's go down, and we are going to go fight Fiddleitis. Now there's also the Trial of Ascendancy, and that's going to be the opposite direction. I don't know if I really want to cover every trial. I mean, I guess I kind of can. They're all pretty straightforward. You pretty much just navigate through the trials. And like I said, that's going to be the opposite direction of where my character is now. So the way we are going is to Fiddleitis. It is wise to note that when you are in the Chamber of Sins, if you're still using those cold resist rings, I would highly recommend swapping to topaz rings, because everything in the Chamber of Sins is lightning damage. You can see the mobs deal lightning damage, the spark mages cast spark, which is lightning damage. Well, the necromancers resurrect the mobs that use lightning damage. And Fidelitis will even use lightning damage. You could also buy Topaz rings from the vendor, same place you could buy the cold resist rings for the Merveil fight. Alright, and here is Fidelitis. So he'll have kind of like a cone attack. It's called Lightning Strike, where he can slap the ground, which deals a melee attack, and then it sends out 3 projectiles base that deal, I think, a percentage of physical and lightning as well. But he's pretty easy. If you have a totem, just place the totem behind him. The totem will attack him, and then, well, actually, if you have a decoy totem, it'll work better. If you decoy totem behind him, you'll see he'll hit the totem, and then you could just hit him. And you don't have to worry about it splashing to you either, because he'll just stay on the totem. And that puts you out of, like, you know, arm's way. Alright, so Fidelitis is completed. Let's go spend our 2 skill points. And I'm going to go grab Discipline and Training here into Retribution. And then I'm going to grab Amplify here for these 2 points. And then I think we're going to go ahead and maybe go across 1, 2, 3 like this. And we'll see what happens next. Oh, whoops. So this was our Beast reward, if you guys remember when we went down to fight the Big Bear. I'm going to go ahead and take a Rustic. I would recommend you to grab a Leather Belt on all characters since you're life-based this early on. And we actually rolled 2 resistances, so very good. Alright, this was from the Fidelitis fight, and we have 2 gems that ideally we both want to use. So I'm going to pick up both of them. But first, we now have a new pair of boots, because these boots just rolled 36 life with 8 cold resist, 16 lightning resistance, and 15% movement speed. So let's go use our new pair of boots now. Alright. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you guys about a really cool and simple method called weapon swapping. If you press X, you can actually weapon swap. And what that allows you to do is you can, for example, use... So I'm going to pick up this Superior Driftwood Wand for one wisdom. Alright. And I can now level my other gems. So I can put an Added Fire in here and a Decoy Totem here. And they will still level even though they're not being used because they're equipped. Okay, cool. Where's his self-found tab? Pohx self-found YouTube. Let's put some of this stuff inside. I don't need the coral. This is good. Lightning Warp can go in. Alright. So for our quest reward, let's see, we have... Let's go ahead and pick up... You want to use Herald of Ash. Herald of Ash has gained 15% of your physical as extra fire, and it ignites for extra overkill damage. So it's a very, very good gem for physical builds. If you're using like a caster, or you're doing, or not even just a caster, but casters can use Herald of Ash too. If you're doing like a fast attacking build, Herald of Thunder and Ice work out very well. They're very nice. So here's what we're going to do. I actually want to try to color this chess piece, so let's try to get more than 1 red. Cool, we got numerous reds. Okay, now the other thing that you want to pick up is Enduring Cry. Enduring Cry is a buff you can use, which grants you life regeneration for, I think, for 0.75 seconds, but it grants you endurance charges. And endurance charges grant you elemental resistance during their duration. It also gives you physical damage reduction, which is very, very good. And I'm going to put it right here. This is going to be Enduring Cry. And this is the buff right here. Each endurance charge grants you 4% physical mitigation. And on top of 4% physical mitigation, you are also granted 4% to each elemental resistance. And it only costs a little bit of your mana to reserve. So what that means is it takes a percentage of your mana pool, but you now permanently have the buff. And the reason for this is so you cannot just have an infinite amount of buffs. Well, this guy's got haste. This is an aura you kind of have to be careful of. I know you couldn't really see it on him. It was like a red shining aura. That's called substantial physical damage, and it's one of the most terrifying things to fight because it essentially adds a huge chunk of physical damage to monsters around them and can really just scale their damage exponentially. When you're doing those breaches, you have to be especially careful though, because since it opens in from all sides, you could potentially have multiple monsters with multiple auras stacking on top of each other. Like you could have substantial physical damage, extra physical damage, and crit aura. And that's a very dangerous combination. You know, all the monsters have increased critical strike chance, accuracy, they deal additional damage. So it's kind of like multipliers on top of multipliers. Now, I believe there's a little unique named guy over here somewhere. I don't remember where. There's a couple side bosses that don't really do anything. It may have been in the first area, but if you want to explore around for the lore, you can find a couple like mini bosses that don't really do anything. It's kind of like that Caliph dude. They kind of just chill and pretend like they're important, and then they fall over when you smack them in the face. Alright, so we're in the Broken Bridge right now, and our goal is to find Creighton, who is going to be at the end of this road right over here. And Creighton is one of the 3 bandits. And the 3 bandits are actually quite important because each one of them is going to offer you a certain buff, but you don't have to take their buff. Alright, so Creighton is one of the 3 bandits, and he's usually favors like the dexterity kind of builds. Not really true 100%, but we'll just go with that. So he's going to offer you 10% all elemental resistance if you want to help him. Don't ever help him. It's very rare that you would ever need this elemental resistance. Remember that you can easily just cap your resistances, so this kind of just wastes it. The reason why I say you don't want to help him is there's 2 other bandits you could be helping, and we'll go over those rewards once we get to them. And also, you could choose to opt out, kill all 3 of the bandits, and get a permanent skill point. So we're going to go ahead and kill him. Now, this change that you do, or this option, is kind of final. However, later on down the line, it is a bit expensive, but you can change it if you want to. Alright, so he's dead, so we're going to portal out. And we have completed everything on the right side. Alternatively, if you want to go do some respec points, you can come down here into Fell Shrine, and you can go through here into Crypt. Crypt is going to hold the next Ascendancy trial from you, sorry. Remember that the Chamber of Sin's 2nd floor has the Ascendancy trial as well, and we did one in the first video, so that's 3, which knocks out half of them already. And that's going to be all of them in Act 2. But we're going to go focus on the main storyline, so we're going to go out to the left now. And Riverways. And Riverways itself, there's nothing to really do inside it. It just connects you to the next areas. Alright, Riverways. Here's the waypoint. Now, when you find this waypoint, if you see this broken bridge road stuff, you can pretty much always follow the broken bridge north, or wherever it takes you, and it will take you to the next zone, which will actually have oak in it. And here you go. By the way, this is the substantial physical damage aura that you can see this cultist has on him. That's what it looks like if you want to be terrified of it. Now, you don't have to go to Wetlands right away. You actually can't even complete the objective in Wetlands yet. I just wanted to come up here just to show you guys. In wetlands, I think it's just supposed to follow the river. If you follow the river, it will bring you to your next bandit oak. Let's just make sure. I think. Oh, and before JK. Confirmed, did not find bandit. Oh, look at strongbox. Now, strongboxes, when they're white, you can go ahead and kind of like use a transmutation on them, which will give it additional properties. I would say it's not really too important at the beginning of the game unless you find like a jeweler's strongbox or a couple other ones. Let's just focus on jewelers for now. What a jeweler's strongbox does is it allows you to get a bunch of accessories. And accessories are cool because accessories are a lot more difficult to come by than most pieces. Alright, so here's our waypoint, which is good. So we'll come back for Oak later. We don't actually have to do him right now. Although, actually, no, we won't. We'll just... Actually, we can't do him because we're helping Oak, so we actually can't do anything here. So we're going to leave this area now. And for that waypoint, what I typically do is I just hug the top side until I find it. Now, sometimes when you're going through the riverways, the bridge is going to be broken, like this. If you have a mobility skill, such as Leap Slam, you could jump over it. If you have something like Flame Dash, it'll work as well. Or if you saw in the first video, I picked up Lightning Warp. Lightning Warp will allow you to do it as well. And this will save you quite a bit of time instead of running around. Now, I don't know if I went over this before, but the base endurance charges, the base of any charge you can have is 3. Everyone starts with 3 charges, and you can pick up charges on your tree. You can pick up charges from unique pieces of gear. You can pick up charges from a bandit reward in merciless difficulty. So definitely something to always kind of think about on your character. Ooh, we got a strong box. Let's YOLO it. YOLO time. Ooh, Enfeeble Curse on us. That's not nice. So you can see this strong box actually rolled 2 additional rare items. So that actually may be pretty cool for us early game. And we got a bow. Oh, we got a helmet. Let's check out this helmet. Actually, we have 3 helmets. We'll wait till we get back to town. We'll hold it for now. I feel like this bug is like biting my eye. Okay, complete. We're now in Western Forest. Western Forest is can be a little scary, and the reason why is the purplish mobs kind of will use puncture, or not puncture. They do a bit of chaos damage, which will bypass energy shield, which we don't have to really worry about because we're life based. But these mobs here will actually kamikaze explode if you don't kill them fast enough, and we have capped fire resistance, so it's okay. But if you did not, that, like, just that alone could probably do like 400 damage to you, if not more. And remember that if a large hit hits you, you'll most likely get stunned. So when we're on this road, kind of just like how we were going to Oak, I don't know if I missed it already, the road will kind of crumble. And when the road crumbles, you can see yourself getting closer to Alira, and you just follow the road, and that's going to be the 2nd/3rd bandit, depending on the road, or the route that you take. Also, if you see this spidery stuff, that's going to be one of the next areas we're going to as well. That's going to be for the Boss Weaver. So here's where the crumbled road is. We're going to go ahead and fight Alira. We just have to follow the crumbled road. And she's kind of like the caster style bandit. Okay. Now, Alira doesn't really do anything too crazy. She basically just like summons monsters She summons zombies, and she detonate dead, so if you don't have fire resistance, you might want to be careful as well. One thing to note is she does give base mana as her reward. I've never found a reason to ever get base mana. So I typically have killed her in every build that I've played. If you're doing something really crazy with like mind over matter conversion, maybe you could use it. I just don't really see the point. And I totally forgot, my bad on this Kraton fight, I didn't explain the mechanics of the fight. So for Kraton deals physical damage, and he uses a skill called Flicker Strike. What Flicker Strike does is it will essentially, it'll teleport him really quickly to you, and it'll do a bit of his damage. But his bandits in the room will use Explosive Arrow, so you want to make sure that you have a bit of fire resistance too, if you are kind of scared of the fight, because they can always be a little bit scary. So right now we are heading south to find this dude, which is Captain Artery. Captain Artery is cool because we get a free skill point from Captain Artery. And I'll show you how that skill point works. All you have to do is pop this seal after you kill him. And I didn't show you this in the last video because we didn't actually get blocked. But this takes you back to Prisoner's Gate, which is directly after Brutus. And this is actually a quest. So if you open up a portal here, it'll take you back to Act 1, which you can then claim your free skill point from right here. So let's also check these helmets. 25 life fire resist. Nothing here is really too special, because I don't even need fire resistance since we are actually fire resistance capped, so we'll just vendor all of that. Retribution. Nice. Melee damage, attack speed. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and teleport back to Western Forest. If you don't want to do this, you could actually just, you could take the waypoint, or you could take your own portal back, and that would be acceptable. So we're going to go ahead and find Weaver, which is located this little subsection right here. All right, Weaver's Chambers. Hope you don't have arachnophobia, because there's just all spiders here. I was like terrified my first time playing. Now, the next flask up from these greater flasks is a Grand Life Flask. I actually don't like using Grand Life Flasks that much. It's like a personal opinion. I know it's kind of silly, but they have it's the first flask when you're leveling, I believe, that does not have 3 charges. It has 2.5. It's 10 of 25 instead of like 10 of 32. So I always I'll use one of them, but I don't like using a lot of them because I'm used to tapping my flask 3 times depending on what's going on. And it doesn't matter too much in the early game, but there is a higher tier of the Grand Life Flask, like when you're in like the 40s. And once we get into rolling flasks, you'll kind of understand why I say that. But that's not something really too important right now. I think Act 3, so probably in the next video, we'll discuss rolling flasks. For these breaches, these lightning ones, you need to be very careful to make sure you do not sit in those lightning balls, because they will periodically zap you and just rack up the damage. Oh, Weaver, where are you? Ooh, a nice juicy blue pack. Oh, baby. Ooh. Now, there is a way to figure out exactly where she is. I don't actually remember off the top of my head. So I usually end up running every single way until I find the right way. Probably not the most efficient way to do it, but hey, it doesn't mean you can't have fun doing it, right? Okay, here's Weaver's nest. Weaver will pop up right from here with a couple blue monsters. And she will go up when she's at like 40% life. Okay, maybe a little less than 40%. And that kind of just triggers her phase 2, which she'll then spawn back down again. Now, what she does is she does kind of... Oh, no, I don't want to kill her. I don't want to kill her. No, 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 no. Okay, so what Weaver does is she will attack you, right? And she'll do a bit of chaos damage. She will also occasionally do like this Spitfire attack. Let's see if she does it. I'm trying to see if I can... There it is, there it is. And that can be kind of scary if it catches you off guard. Like if she does it at the same time, like all the blue monsters hit you, it can be a little bit scary. Okay. So we have pretty much everything completed. The only thing we need to go do is decide our third bandit, which is going to be Oak. And let's turn this in as well. So from here, we actually get melee physical damage, which is a multiplier. It is 30% more melee physical damage, which is really, really strong. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to try to hope this works, and I'm going to try to link my chess piece. So it's red, well, it's linked like this. So here we go. I only have one fusing, and it actually unlinked everything. Well, lucky for us, we have 4 Jeweler's Orbs, which is actually a recipe to get 1 fusing. So let's hope it goes together. And it did not. Well, that's okay. Let's put this back in. We'll continue with what we were doing. So I think it was Enduring Cry. Herald of Ash will sit here. And we'll level up our... I don't really need the second added fire. We'll pull it out. On the bright side, melee physical is stronger than added fire at the beginning. So we can actually just replace... Where's Sunder? Sunder with added fire. Let's put that in instead. Don't need this guy at all. Alright. Now, instead of doing what I did, it would in fact be smarter for every level to check your shops. Because if you check your shops, you could typically find gear that is like already 3-linked or already 4-linked, and you can just try crafting it from there. Or you can always go to an external website, which is what Path of Exile kind of relies on, which is called like poe.trade, and you can search your items there. And I'm probably not going to make a video on that, but just know that a lot of not end game, but a lot of like, if you ever want to try going shopping or like buying gear, just Google poe.trade and or type it on YouTube, and you could find out exactly all about that. One thing to note as well is if you are switching around your links in your gear and you pull off a gem and it's a buff gem, you're going to have to rebuff yourself as well. That's why like my Herald of Ash kind of fell off. So let's go find Oak. Mr. Oak. Here he is. And this is a massive shrine, which gives me extra or additional health and additional area of effect. Might even give ES too. No, there's no ES. Level 22. Cool. So we're actually going to help Oak because it's 40 base life. Now this base life, or not base life, flat life. This flat life will scale off my percentages, so you'll see it's actually more than 40 life. And see, it puts me to like 1100. With the massive shrine on, of course. What was that dropped? Ooh, a whetstone. Alright, so what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to go ahead and push towards the final boss of this act, which is Vol. Unfortunately, we still have like 5 zones to go through because Vol is very far away, but hey, that's alright. Now, those actual routes you cannot break down until you kill, I believe it's Fiddleitis and Weaver. You may have to do the bandits as well. I don't remember. They changed it quite a while ago. But if you're having difficulty entering those routes, make sure that you killed Fiddleitis, which is the lightning dude, and Weaver, which is the spider. We got a lot of breach mobs here. I like this. Give me this. Whew. I think I may have just found an upgraded ring there. Breach mobs are great because they drop so much loot and they have a really high drop rate for dropping accessories. Well, specifically rings. They're breach rings, which you can see I got 2 out of it just from there. And this does give me flat physical, but it's okay. So we are currently over at the Vol Ruins, and I think we're going to try to open or trying to find our way to the Northern Forest. Which Northern Forest is not one to be found at all right now. Make sure I'm not leaving these on the floor. Alright, Northern Forest is going to be right here. Just kidding. Okay, maybe right above here. No. Oh, Northern Forest. Here it is, here it is. Oh, wait, no, actually, JK, not yet. I've never been very good at Path of Exile layout, so you guys in the comments are probably laughing at me, but that's okay. Alright, it's gotta be here. There's no other place it can be. And before there's another spot it can be. It's not here. This is a dead end. Okay, well, I was just kidding. It's actually over here to the right. Right here. No. Okay, then. Well, looks like we can still go over here to the left, so let's go to the left. No. Okay. How about up to the left? Like here? Or is this a dead end? Nope. Alright. Maybe I need to go watch some guides myself. Maybe it's going to be down in here? Here it is. Okay. Look at that. See, no problem. So this triggers the Ancient Seal, which makes your game look a little upset. And your game will continue to stay like this until you've actually killed Vol. Okay, and we're now in Northern Forest. So Northern Forest you need to be a little bit careful of. The reason why I say you need to be a little bit careful of Northern Forest is due to the fact that there are Devourer spawns in here, and there is a unique monster that will puncture you if it hits you. It's like a red snake, and these are Devourers. They pop up with very high base damage. They have a melee attack and a projectile attack. They're not really too scary, but if you find like a rare one, you might have to use a little bit of caution when trying to slay it. Now this layout's very nice because it's pretty much just a straight line. There's really not many ways you can go. And the waypoint is over here. Alright, there's a rare Devourer, for example. How tanky is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So tanky. Maybe next video we're gonna have to craft a new weapon too. Hope we get lucky. I'm up all night to get lucky. Oh, all right. Let's see. Where's this puncture snake? Actually, I should be popping into him here in a minute, or like a second, because this zone's about to be over. Well, guess we can find the puncture snake. Well, the puncture snake is a big red worm-looking guy, and he'll come up and he'll bite you. So you just gotta be careful of that bite. Remember that puncture is a bleed that lasts on your character. The if you're walking, I think you take, is it 5 times damage when you're walking? Whereas if you're standing still, you take significantly less, and you'll hear like a kind of like blood gushing out of your character as your character is walking. You also see the blood gushing out of your character, so it gives you a good visual cue as well that there's something on your character. There is a unique mob in here called Kuru, and Kuru is just a drop bear. I don't really know what he does. Okay, he does a delayed earthquake. I don't know if that's on death or if that's his attack. I'm guessing that's his attack, where he attacks and then after a short delay, an AoE explosion comes out. So just kind of be a little careful of that. Also, if you have the patience to do it, breaking pots as you walk by them is pretty actually decent. You can find quite a lot of currency out of them and stuff. I don't know why, but GG has made it so the game is very RNG based, and just opening a boulder or a rock or breaking a pot, you could potentially find some of the best items in the game. Now granted, you could also find those items in the game from killing monsters. It's just totally random where it could happen. Alright, so we have just entered... well, I guess we're still in caverns, but now we're closer to Vol's area, since we're kind of climbing the pyramid now. Now, I don't remember exactly the specific way of traversing through the pyramid, but I think it's once you find the stairs going up, you want to go diagonal. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm going to try it here. I used to actually farm this guy, like, back in the day. And I had, like, everything memorized with it, but, you know, that was, like, 2 years ago. Actually, I think that was more than 2 years ago. Nonetheless, there's a breach, and I want it. Come here, breach. Actually, I don't feel like walking backwards for it. Oh, here we go. Here's the way up. So now we are in the ancient pyramid, climbing towards Vol. Oh, there's a breach there. Let's go for the breach. Breach, I'm coming! Two stone rings are pretty nice bases. They give like dual resistance on them. So instead of it just being one type of resistance, you get two. And it does give you essentially the same value of like a fire, like a ruby ring or a sapphire ring or a topaz ring. They roll from 12 to 16, which means if you double to 16, it would be 32. And your standard fire, ice, and lightning resistance would roll from the values of 20 to 30. Oh, a sub-fizz totem. Go away. Okay, we're gonna just save this point because I don't know exactly where I'm gonna go with it right now. Might have to design a little bit of a build for myself, and then I can post it because people are asking. They said like, what if they want to follow along with the same build? So I figured maybe I'll spend some time in creating like a really nice beginner character because I honestly don't know what I'm doing with this guy right now. But it should be okay. It's got a very standard build layout right now. Superior life gain on hit. Alright, and the pyramid apex, that would be Vol. So to summon Vol, you have to have the apex, and the apex is given to you after you figure out what you're doing with your bandits. Whether you're helping one, they'll give you the apex, or you're killing all of them. Just note that if you are helping a bandit, you need to kill the other two bandits before you actually help the bandit, or else it won't work. Okay. Let's see what we got. Now that I think about it, I could actually put, like, Ancestral Protector here, weapon swap, and put added fire here, and then remove ground slam and put ground slam here, which would then need me to buff myself again. There we go, got it in time. Alright, so here's how the Vol fight works. Vol will come up and summon a bunch of units. He has a couple of telegraphed attacks. So, first off, he can summon rocks. You'll see he'll make baby rocks and then big rocks. He also does a slam, which hits really hard, and I would recommend for you to not take it to the face. I'm just showing you an example, though. The slam can be mitigated with, like, endurance charges, though, and physical mitigation and whatnot. He'll also lay down ice. You want to make sure you're not in this chilled ground because it's harder to get out of, like, his slam, for example, if you're inside the chilled ground. The monsters that he spawns deal, I think, physical and chaos. So maybe it might just be physical. He's got ranged mobs and he has melee mobs. So the way the Vol fight works is this is kind of a unique mechanic. Is if he has more than 3 monsters or 3 or more alive, he will never summon adds ever. The minute you kill an extra one, he can start summoning adds again. He can choose to stop and just go pew, 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 and start summoning. And let's see if he's going to make a liar out of me or not. Oh, his third attack is his laser, which is one of his most deadly ones because it has really high base damage and it is prone to shocking you. When you are shocked, you take 50% increased damage from all sources. Okay, maybe is he not going to summon adds again? Vol, what are you doing, buddy? Are you going to summon adds? You're supposed to summon adds. Okay, I don't know what this dude is doing. He's just putting ice everywhere, man. Anyway, so let's explain one more thing about Vol. Is do not ever take his slams to the face like this. It is really not good for you or your health. While he's spawning adds, if you actually kill all the adds as they're coming out, he'll be forced to resummon them all over again, which kind of like tricks his animation and you can get like free damage, but that typically won't happen early on. That's like when you get like a bunch of AoE and stuff. Alright boys, so this kind of concludes the Act 2. You guys let me know how you think or how you feel. Act 3 is probably going to be like an hour and a half long because I really do not like Act 3. It is my most hated act by a long shot. But hey, that's how life is, right? I'll do my best to kind of getting like a little bit of a beginner character up for you guys if you wanted to follow along. And I'll see if I can post that like in the comments below. But overall, you guys let me know what you think. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Hope you guys had a wonderful time. And the only thing I can really tell you is if you're following along with me, which is probably too late now, don't spec into these and spec into this instead. I just want damage because I'm not really concerned about my life at this point in the game. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Remember, if you liked the video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And you can catch me streaming live every day at twitch.tv/Pohx. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you boys all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.